The Common Council meeting for Tuesday, March 19th to order has been appropriately noticed.
Yes, Your Honor, it has.
Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Alderman Stray.
Here.
Alderman Kavieski.
Here.
Alderman Miller.
Here.
Alderman Rozak. Alderman Shaw.
Here.
Alderman Ellis.
Here.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Here.
Alderman Swart.
Here.
Okay, without objection, I'd like to move up we have some special guests in the audience tonight. I'd like to move up the recognition of Chief Liddell to right now, so without objection. Chief? I have a letter to read and then a plaque to give you, and I just want you to appreciate this is coming from our heart. On behalf of the City of Oconomowoc and its citizens, I wish to congratulate you on your retirement and acknowledge the invaluable services you have provided to the city and its citizens over the past 30 years. As the city's deputy fire chief, you served the city well. There have been countless cases in which the city and its citizens relied on your instincts and leadership to make important life-saving decisions. On record, you were responsible for an average of 396 fire calls and 1,271 emergency service calls on an annual basis. You have been responsible for inspecting hundreds of homes, businesses, and events with the mission of making Oconomowoc a safer place. What makes your record exceptional is you personally responded and participated in a large percentage of the calls received throughout your career. And I'd like to add a little personal note to that. Several years ago, it was right shortly after I was elected, I had a chimney fire. Called 911. The first person there was Chief Liddell. Before anybody got there, he was in the house with the fire extinguisher, had the thing put out. I barely got back in the door and he was already done. So he responded that fast. As witnessed by many others, you always responded with extreme care and compassion on every call. In addition, you worked countless hours promoting, training, and educating others on fire safety, as well as being an important part of building the city's fire services into what it is today. On behalf of the City of Oconomowoc and its citizens, please accept this heartfelt certificate of appreciation for the hard work and commitment you performed over the past 30 years. Though your efforts have made the City of Oconomowoc a safer and much better place to live. We thank you for your exceptional service and wish you a happy and peaceful retirement.
Yes, I'll try. No puns, though. But, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council and city staff and friends and family that are here. It means a lot to me, and I appreciate your kind words. It really does mean a lot to me. Let me say it has been indeed a privilege and an honor to serve the city in the capacity of Deputy Fire Chief over the years. I was thinking on the way over here as the sun's going down and saying, what's the sunset of my career? But I also remember watching a sunset from Fowler Park on the day I was hired, waiting to be, told that I got the job or not. And looking back 30 years ago and seeing the changes that have occurred over those 30 years is just truly incredible. But I think the best part of it all now is that I'm leaving a much better system in place. We have our 24/7 paramedics. We have a very successful consolidation going on, and I know a lot of you were instrumental in that process as well. And I think we can all point to that with pride as a very successful thing for our community. But again, thank you so very much. I truly appreciate it. God bless.
Another thing I'd like to do, we have a former mayor in the audience that also wants to say something. Floss, if you'd like to come up.
I really came for Glenn tonight, with apologies to the rest of you. To misquote Shakespeare, I came to honor Glenn, not to bury him. He was hired on my watch. Glenn was an absolutely excellent fire chief. But beyond that, he is one of the most decent men I have ever known. This is a very good man. And I think that that is very, very important. And whatever title he may have in the future, to me, Glenn is always going to be Chief, Fire Chief Glenn Lytle. Thank you for all your many years of service.
Thank you.
Glenn,
The Alderman would like to say something? Go ahead, Tom.
was Mary Poppins on his roof over here when he was cleaning out the chimney? What I figured.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Just want to say thank you. He was my chief when I was on the department, and he's a great guy, and also, like the former mayor said, super nice guy, and a great family. Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to regular business. Next item up is approval of meeting minutes from the February 19th, 2019 meeting. We need a motion to approve the minutes.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'll abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay. Seeing no other discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes have passed. Now we'll move on to comments and suggestions from citizens. This is, if anybody has any comments on any subject, please fill out one of the blue cards. We have one card so far, Lynn Stull. Lynn?
Good evening, Lynn Stahl, 212 Pine Street. And I just wanted to make a comment regarding the cell tower lease renewal that I understand was looked at earlier this evening. I'm not sure when that gets voted on, but I just would like for consideration that I know that there are several families on that street, Thoreau, a child that has autism, another child that has cerebral palsy or Downs. I'm sorry, it's been a while since I've been up on that hill. And then a woman that's had multiple cases of cancer since she's moved there. And her husband has dementia, but yet he had that before they came. And I know that this was done back in 1991. I appreciate that agreement. But what I would like to ask that if this is a done deal, that the $75,000 that the American Tower will be paying to renew that lease, as well as the incremental monthly payments of $1,500, as well as the sublease people that the city is getting, that it would go to a piece of property that actually would be for a cell tower siting, that in the future that we're looking forward, that would actually have a radius of protection of at least a half a mile away from families, children that are living in our city. So I would hope that you might consider that as far as if you do renew it, that the money actually goes to a piece of property, again, that a cell tower could be placed that would actually provide a buffer between the people that live here and the tower itself, because despite what the FCC, the wireless industry, as well as the American Cancer Society has said, there's no problem. And yet, of course, we'll say, I just want to say the American Cancer Society has Motorola, IBM, two CEOs of IBM, one from the foundation, as well as data companies and technology companies that are on their board of directors. So the American Cancer Society is no longer working for the people like the FCC is either. And so the perceived health risk, that is just a wireless soundbite that they say about the cell towers. There are thousands of studies that are showing that this low level of radiation, the pulsating over a constant barrage of that is hurting people. So I just would like you to think about investing in property that could actually have a buffer again around it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to regular business. Next item is the consent agenda. Tonight we have a couple items, licenses, and the February 2019 Treasurer's Report. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Alderman Stray,
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski,
Aye.
Alderman Miller,
Aye.
Alderman Shaw,
Aye.
Alderman Ellis.
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Aye.
Alderman Swart.
Aye.
Okay, next under Public Services, we have, first item is consider act on a resolution awarding contract for the 2019 bridge maintenance project. We need a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead.
We've received 4 bids for the 2019 bridge rehabilitation project, the lowest being provided by Yankee General Contractors Incorporated for recommended maintenance for 4 of the 9 city-owned bridges. The adjusted contract amount would be $137,520.20.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Call the roll.
Alderman Stray.
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski.
Aye.
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Shaw.
Aye.
Alderman Ellis.
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Aye.
Alderman Swart.
Aye.
Okay, under Utility Committee,
Thank you.
thank you. We have one item, consider act on amended and restated lease and an agreement between City of Oconomowoc and Milwaukee SMSA Tower Holdings LLC. We need a motion to approve the new lease.
I'll make a motion to approve the new lease. Second.
Joe?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Before you tonight is the Sheldon Park Pioneer Ridge cell tower location. It's with SMSA Corporation, American Tower. It was installed in 1991, and that went till 2002, where it was re-upped again till 2021. And now we are currently looking at extending it again till 2051. And the one note is that the city's the communications for the police department is also on that tower, and that is placed on there free of charge for having it on that water utility property. We currently receive $1,585.43 for the base lease, and there are currently 2 additional leasers that are chosen by the American Tower Corporation. We do not have a choice in who those other leasers are, and we get $1,404.92 apiece for those 2 other occupants. As that would increase or decrease, that number would go up and down with those other occupants. So currently, right now, we're receiving $4,395.27 a month for the base lease, and to extend it to 2052, they're offering a $75,000 one-time payment. And then that equals about $52,000 a year in income for that lease property. This has been vetted by Anita Galucci, utility attorney for the utilities, Broadman and Clark, and also your city attorney, Stan Riffle.
Thanks. Any questions? Go ahead.
During the committee meeting, we discussed this topic, and I would like to just go on record and see if we can explore the one-time payment and any additional non-allocated lease funds to go outside of the general utility use and be allocated toward trails and connectivity within the community.
Dan, you want to bring something up here?
Alderman, I can fairly well tell you that it is regulated by PSC, and as a matter of law, if it is on a utility facility, a water utility facility, it's got to be blended into that utility to lower rates for everyone. They regulate everything now up to you can't sell rights to place advertising on your tower. They're really getting their hands into it, but I'm 99%. I'm telling you right now, it was a great idea, but I don't think we can do it.
I appreciate the input on that. I know again, the city of Brookfield has a program in place that would be similar to that. Maybe they instituted that before things changed.
I represent Brookfield from time to time. I believe it's on a separate tower, not on a water facility.
Cool. Means it's different
or
property.
On land that's owned by the water utility.
Right. Yeah. Karen?
Which means we would not be able to divert this money
No.
in any way?
To the general fund, no.
Okay.
It really needs to be tied into the water utility.
Question?
But
Okay.
it does go back into the rates to lower the
Right,
utility
and-
rates for
right,
everybody.
I
It
understand
just-
that.
Okay.
Question for you. How many potential renters can they put on this tower? Do we know that?
I do not have that information, but if it's something that you seek, I can definitely get it for you.
And if we did not approve this contract, then what would fire and police do as far as their communications?
We would have to find a different spot to put those communications.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Kevin.
Is there any room for negotiation when it comes to that 3% increase per year on the base rent?
At this point, I'm not aware of any room for negotiation. I mean, this body can do whatever you choose to do. If you think that's unfair, we could come back.
Not a matter of being unfair. I'm
it's-
looking at a very big number in
Yeah.
30 years. Tremendous number. And I'm just wondering if, so is there a back door to this where if it gets a little out of hand, we can?
I'm not really
there's no back
understanding
door.
what your question is.
If you sign the contract, it's 3%. If you direct us to go and try to negotiate with them for a better rate, then that's what we'll try to do.
Yeah.
Because really, the cost of living has only been maybe 1-2%. if
This is
that.
money we're making.
I understand that.
We're not
but-
spending it. They're paying us.
Yeah, but I just don't want them to have to come back and say, no, this is
No,
too
no,
expensive.
it's a 30-year lease. I mean, if they sign a contract, they're locked in.
All
It's 6 5-year leases?
Yes,
Yeah.
extensions. And historically, it's always been a 3% escalator. I looked in the past 20-year contract, and they've never reneged on that 3%. They've always paid it.
Okay,
So
Derek?
if that answers your question.
it does.
Okay.
I just have a comment towards Kevin's comment, is that because of the laws in place, they can build anywhere they want to now. And if we price ourselves out of the market, they'll just go somewhere else,
Yeah.
which,
I think his goal was to get it lower. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was misunderstanding that.
I was trying to get lower.
Trying to get a lower
Mhm.
return on it?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't understand why.
Any other comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Call the roll, please.
Alderman Stray,
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski,
Aye.
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Shaw,
Aye.
Alderman Ellis,
Aye.
excuse me, Alderman Spiegelberg,
Nay.
Alderman Zwart.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to Plan Commission. First item is, I should say, consider act on a condominium plat for Lexington Point condominiums located at 1165 to 1169 Snyder Way. We need a motion to approve the condominium plat.
So moved.
Second. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. The first item under Plan Commission is a condominium plat. It's a conversion of 17 apartments into condominium ownership, and you need this plat in place to be approved by the Common Council so the county can get individual tax key numbers for each unit. The project consists of 2 buildings. It's located down near Snyder Way and Robrook Lane. The Plan Commission discussed this, and they recommended approval at their meeting last week. They did have 2 items that they discussed. The stormwater management is going from 1 person to be maintained by 17, and the stormwater management plan will be attached to the declaration of restrictions and provided to each owner. Also, they discussed the establishment of an HOA. There's got to be there was maintenance was a concern, and the owner, David Hoffman, will be establishing a fund and putting in about $10,000 to start with. So they're relatively newer units, so we don't anticipate any issues, but if there's anything that comes up, there'll be a little bit of money in that fund to make repairs at the beginning. And again, the Plan Commission did recommend this.
One thing that this provides, it provides mid-range townhouse-style condominiums, which I don't think we have anything like that in the city yet. And I think that's probably something that's going to be becoming more popular. Go ahead, Tom.
Is there anybody living in those apartments, or are they just gonna kind of say, hit the road?
The plan of attack for that is he's going to offer the ownership to buy these to the current renters at a discounted rate. There's no realtor involved, there's no brokerage fees, so he can do that. He can reduce the price by I don't know the number, but it's a substantial reduction without commissions being taken out. If they choose not to do that, if they're not in a position to buy the unit, they can stay as long as they want, and then they would, once they move out and the unit becomes available, then David Hoffman would then put it up on the market for sale.
Charlie?
Yeah, on the stormwater agreement, under your technical review, it talks about the fact that that stormwater agreement will be provided, the documents will be provided, and each of the future owners will be told of that. Who's supplying that? Is that something the city supplies, or is that something that the owner now supplies to them?
As it'll be part of the declaration of restrictions, which when you buy a condominium unit, you get a copy of that, and so that the city won't be supplying that. That'll be as owners change over, they're to give that to each of the new owners.
Okay.
That'll be part of their HOA payment.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm in support of this. I think it helps our diversity of housing mix, and I'm glad it's here.
Any other comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Call the roll, please.
Alderman Stray?
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski?
Aye.
Alderman Miller?
Aye.
Alderman Shaw?
Aye.
Alderman Ellis?
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg?
Aye.
Alderman Swart?
Aye.
Next item is to consider and act on a certified survey map to combine lands at 307 North Lake Road. We need a motion to approve the certified
So
survey
moved.
map.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Jason?
This is a certified survey map, and the purpose of it is to combine the vacated Rockwell Street with the main property. The property owner has reconstructed a driveway, and now the driveway and the primary residence will be on the same property. Staff did a thorough technical review, and all of the issues have been addressed. I think this property owner has done so much in the city. They've rebuilt the house, the front porch, and now they're going to be building a carriage house. I think this is the final piece of the puzzle that'll come before the Common Council. The Plan Commission did recommend approval of the certified survey map.
Questions? Ism?
Not so much a question as just a comment, and it's nice to see the investment made into that property and bringing it back to what the community embraces. So I appreciate that, the effort, and the results have been fantastic.
Great. Go ahead, Kevin.
I also want to say it's fantastic. I'm very proud of that unit. Very proud.
Any other comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's wonderful from the lakeside and the front side and what he's done to that thing. It's great. But Joe, are there any ghosts in that place? Oh, I thought they're going to the new carriage house you're building or something. Okay.
Any other comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Call the roll.
Alderman Stray?
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski? Alderman Miller?
Aye.
Alderman Shaw?
Aye.
Alderman Ellis?
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg?
Aye.
Alderman Swart?
Aye.
Next item is consider act on an extraterritorial certified survey map for North 77, West 36498 Saddlebrook Lane in the town of Oconomowoc. We need a motion to approve the extraterritorial certified survey map.
Make a motion to approve the map.
Go ahead.
We have a certified survey map that's before you to create a 3-acre parcel for an existing home that lies in the town of Oconomowoc. And as you know, we have extraterritorial platting jurisdiction for lands within 3 miles of the city's boundaries. This property is about 1.25 miles from the closest city boundary, which would be on Highway K. This subject property on Saddlebrook is north of Ashapin Lake, just west of Highway P, north of the city. This falls within a agricultural preservation zone. So they are taking 3 acres and creating it around the primary house, and then they're keeping the remaining 35 acres, 36 acres in a preservation for crop production. So the town has reviewed this and they have also approved it. The Plan Commission did recommend it last week onto your attention with a positive recommendation.
Just so you're aware, the map for the next one is attached to this one, the layout.
Oh.
I have Blackhawk Drive on this one, and I have it on the next one too.
Yeah, we got 2 Blackhawks.
So I think when you put them together, I saw it at Plan Commission, so it's, and you saw it too, I think, so. It is a legitimate request, and the thing about north of Highway K, see, that's not what we have.
Right, this is what it looks like. I don't know
North
how
of
it got
Highway K
confused.
is, the lots have to be 35 acres or split off like that, so. Again, we have no jurisdiction. We have the jurisdiction to do this, but we really have no plans of going north of Highway K, so it's not gonna affect us.
Sorry about that, we copied them wrong, the
Yep.
map twice,
Yep.
apparently.
Any questions?
Why did the city engineer say no technical review?
Because it's being reviewed for technical by Waukesha County, it's not within our jurisdiction, and they have different standards than we have, so we don't want to contradict each other. So any extraterritorial land division outside of our areas, we don't do a technical review in-house. The only items that I really check is make sure that they have the correct names in the signature blocks for the city. Sometimes they have that mixed up a little bit. That's the only really thing I'm checking.
Is there anything that I need to be concerned about than technical review, being that there has been none done?
No, if we thought this would be coming into the city, you know, we would put a little stricter review on it, but this is way outside the city in a farmland preservation area that we don't anticipate this area coming into the city. We feel it's being reviewed by other agencies, and we're feeling they're comparable to do that, so.
It's in Maple.
Capable.
This is more of an item that we're required to do, but we really have no interest in this at all. So no other comments? Call a roll, please.
Alderman Stray.
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski.
Aye.
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Shaw.
Aye.
Alderman Ellis.
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Aye.
Alderman Swart.
Aye.
Okay, next item is consider our act on a extraterritorial certified survey map for North 60 West 38537 Blackhawk Drive in the town of Oconomowoc. We need a motion to approve this extraterritorial certified survey map as well.
So moved.
Second.
All right, this is the certified survey map on Blackhawk Drive.
Got that one.
So, I like it so much, you got it twice. It's on LaBelle, on Lake LaBelle, and it's a land swap. There's no new parcels being created. There's a triangular piece of land that's being transferred from the property on Cole Lane to Blackhawk Drive. The current owner only has 33 feet of frontage on the lake, and this will gain him an additional 45 for a total of 78 feet of frontage on the lake. Right now, when he looks out of his residence, the land between his home and the lake is actually on the neighbor's property. So now the land between his house and the lake will be his own. So this was an agreement by both landowners. They both signed the application, and it's just a transfer of a piece of land that's about 1,300 square feet in area, but they were required to do a certified survey map for that transfer.
Thank you, Jason. Questions? Seeing none, we have a motion second on the floor. Call the roll.
Alderman Stray.
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski.
Aye.
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Shaw.
Aye.
Alderman Ellis.
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Aye.
Alderman Swart.
Aye.
Okay, under new business, first item is consider act on a resolution authorizing the sale of public property located adjacent to 111 West 2nd Street. Need a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Bob?
Based on our prior conversation at a prior meeting, there was interest by an adjacent property owner to purchase 611 square feet from the city in order to improve his parking area for his business. We've entered into an offer for that purchase to take place. The Plan Commission has recommended that. This is the final action that needs to take place in order for us to go to closing and to sell this piece of property for $7,500.
Thank you, Bob. Questions? Seeing none? Motion and a second, call the roll.
Alderman Stray?
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski?
Aye.
Alderman Miller?
Aye.
Alderman Shaw?
Aye.
Alderman Ellis?
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg?
Aye.
Alderman Swart?
Aye.
Next item is consider act on a resolution disallowing a claim from Fox Brothers Piggly Wiggly of Oconomowoc. We need a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Lori? Dan?
I can easily handle it. Lori do better, but you want me to do it? You want to do it?
I actually I thought you were going to take.
Oh, I will, I'd be glad to.
It's
So-
fine. I can start it and you can
Okay,
finish
all
it.
right.
We received a claim from Fox Brothers, that's for the Piggly Wiggly in Oconomowoc, and that's a personal property claim. Their claim is that some of their personal property was not in the right category and is therefore not taxable. However, after we sent the claim to the attorney and to our insurance company, it was found that the claim was never filed properly. So at this time, the city attorney is recommending denial of the claim. I wouldn't be real surprised to see that one come back for the following year, but we'll look into that at that time.
So what's happening is some of these large grocery store chains or medium chains have gotten together and they are pushing the envelope in terms of what is personal property and what is manufacturing and equipment, which is exempt from taxation. They are claiming such things as their carts are machines and therefore exempt. Their freezers are machines and therefore exempt, and they're just pushing it like a lot of folks are doing now in terms of real estate taxation. But they did not personally serve the clerk, which is required, nor did they get the claim to us by January 31st, which is required. And so we're recommending that you deny formally disallow this claim. I doubt that they will fight that because it's pretty black and white. If they do, you have insurance coverage, and I'm your insurance lawyer.
Okay. Lou?
If we deny this and it comes back next year, is there any interest that's paid when, and if that were to be refunded?
No, they can't. They're done for everything until next year. So the interest would be on a claim that would start next year if they prevail. And yes, there is interest. It's like 0.5% a month or something. It's not a lot.
Aaron?
Had they gotten it in by the deadline, do you feel they would have prevailed, given
No,
the situation?
Absolutely
No.
not.
Okay. And do we have a lot of these that are happening? It sounds like not yet, but potentially?
What I was trying to allude to is this consortium of grocers are attempting to do this. To my knowledge, Roundy's isn't, or Kroger's, whatever, isn't doing it. But Festival Foods, I'm hearing, because we're linked in with a lot of different municipal attorneys across the state, Piggly Wiggly, and I think there's one other that are attempting to do this. And there are probably, as I understand it, 40 of these claims in different municipalities. And unfortunately, some of the assessors have just said, oh, okay. And other assessors saying, what are you doing? So it's kind of like the dark store thing that you're hearing about, you know?
I was gonna say,
They're
right.
starting to get their hands
Yeah.
around it. It's a totally different deal. But, you know, they're all looking at the bottom line. They're all looking at ways that they can try to, you know, squeeze it and shift the burden off of commercial and onto residential or manufacturing or wherever else.
Okay.
So I think there's some legislation in the state of Wisconsin right now that's trying to prevent the whole big black box.
Actually,
Dark
that
box.
legislation is not addressing.
But that's not
dark
addressing
store.
the personal property aspect?
It doesn't address the dark store either.
Okay.
There are 3 bills that are under consideration. None of them are attempting to affect the appraisals or the assessments of big box retail. That may come, but it's not here right now.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Call the roll, please.
Alderman Stray?
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski?
Aye.
Alderman Miller?
Aye.
Alderman Shaw.
Aye.
Alderman Ellis.
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Aye.
Alderman Zwart.
Aye.
Okay, next item is consider or act on a memorandum of understanding between the City of Oconomowoc, the Oconomowoc Public Library Board and of Trustees in Jefferson County. We need a motion to approve this memorandum of understanding.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
You're gonna take it? Betsy's gonna take it?
Thank you, Mayor. This is to approve a memorandum of understanding which would create a non-voting ex officio position on the Oconomowoc Public Library Board for a member resident of Jefferson County.
And why don't you explain the reasoning? I mean, I know what it is.
Sure,
but
yep.
Just explain to the public what the reasoning for this is.
Absolutely, yep. So the library counts Jefferson County as one of our key partners, and in many ways, this position on our library board would enable us to understand better one of our key partners' point of view, open up lines of communication, and potentially help us build upon our existing partnerships with Jefferson County to improve services for our citizens.
And one of the reasons too is Ixonia School, which is part of the Oconomowoc School District, is in Jefferson County. So we have a lot of residents of the school district that don't live in the county. And they use our library, so. And it's closer than anything else they have, and it's better than anything else they have, so. Sorry, Jefferson County. Go ahead.
Do we see this sometime in the future becoming a voting spot?
That's a great question, Alderman Shaw. At this point, there's no room in the statute. The statute dictates membership on on city library boards, and there's no room in the statute right now as far as having a voting member from an adjacent county on a municipal board.
But they do provide funds for the library?
Correct,
So
yes.
I would see at some point in time that there may be that push to be a voting member, and I would have a problem with that.
It's possible. Go ahead.
You will actually find somebody that would do this and not get any voting rights or anything like that?
That's the hope, yes.
Ooh, okay.
The Jefferson County will actually find the member, and that'll be recommended to the county administrator, and then it would come on to the mayor and the council for confirmation. So they'll be responsible for finding their member, and we would confirm that ex officio position,
Well, in
or
other words-
appointment, I should say.
In other words, we could be sitting here next year at this time, and they still might be looking for somebody to do it.
I don't think they'll have that problem.
Well, okay.
Any other comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and second on the floor. Call the roll.
Alderman Straig.
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski.
Aye.
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Shaw.
Aye.
Alderman Ellis.
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Aye.
Alderman Zwart.
Aye.
Okay, staff reports.
Thank you.
Diane has one report tonight.
Hi, thank you, Sarah. I just wanted to remind everybody that there will be an April 2nd election here in the city of Oconomowoc. We have aldermen on the ballot, as well as quite a few different judge seats. So just want to remind everybody of that election.
Took my glory away from
Oh,
me.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Reports and comments from aldermen? Go ahead, Tom.
I know that Mike Milner is leaving us, and I think he'll just be here for a short time in 2 weeks if he decides to. But he may be not the best dressed guy during the alderman stuff, but when he was acting mayor, he went through about 5 or 6 different suits, and I want in that closet because if you're not going to use them anymore. Thank you for all you've done, Mike.
Thanks, Tom.
We can get him good at the 16th. He'll be here then. Lou, you had something?
Yeah, over the next few meetings, I just want to bring some attention to the sofa jump for Archie, which occurs on May 15th. People can find out about it on Facebook, and it's been going on here in the community for 5 years. This year, I think will be an exceptional showing and an exceptional experience and awareness for the battle against opioids and drugs, not only in our community, but throughout the country, so.
Okay. Any other comments? Seeing none, couple items I have. Tomorrow night, there is a public hearing in front of the architectural, not board, but the hearing master, or whatever you want to call him. Examiner. For input on the property on North Lake Road. So if anybody is interested, it'll be at 7?
6:30.
6:30. There is an election April 2nd, but early voting has started now, so if anybody wants to vote early, that started for the next 2 weeks, so that'll be going on. Also, we held another town hall meeting yesterday. Lou and I were there. Charlie was in the back. I had a great turnout at Shorehaven. Lots of questions, a lot of good questions, and hopefully we'll get to do some more of these things in the next year. I think it's a very good way to interact with the public, instead of us just sitting here talking or else them talking and us not responding. I think it worked out really well because we really got into some good discussions and they had some very good questions. So hopefully we'll do that more often this summer and into the fall. Seeing nothing else on the agenda, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.